Good day. This guidance is about payroll. If we run payroll for you as an employer, we will send you payroll reports every month or weekly, depending on the frequency of your payroll, and complete the what we call the RTI FPS submissions to HMRC on your behalf. In running the payroll every month, we will send you um, payroll documents via our email account that ends in usually from accounts at the tacuk.com. Our domain is at the tacuk.com. That is where the payslips and payroll, that's the email address, the payslips and the payroll documents will come from. So you can make sure you um, ensure that that email account or that domain does not go into junk. If you are not receiving, um, if you're not receiving your payslips to your inbox, you want to most likely check your junk folder in the first instance. All right, so where relevant and applicable, where applicable, we will send you payroll documents in the following order. Payslips for review, that is to yourself as the employer. Where you are a sole director, we will only send you the payslip as an employee where you are the sole director. But where you have employees, you have more than one employee or you have other employees, we will send you the payslips for review. And we will also send you, that will be one PDF. All the payslips will be on one PDF and it will look like this. So you're going to have all the um, all the payslips will come on one PDF, and you can see there are two employees on here. So you've got the payslip, all of the payslip here on one PDF, and it will show you all the pay details, the basic pay, any additions or deductions, the tax deducted, national insurance. If there is pension, it will show the pension. So as you can see on the second employee here, there is pension, the employer pension, employee pension, and then the amount to pay the employee is going to be the net pay. So we'll send you the pay slips for review and also send it to you individually via your email. So when they are sent for review, it will be on one PDF. When they are sent individually, you will have individual PDFs for each employee. And where you have instructed us to send this to employees, we will send it to them via email. So that is one. So payslips for review, and then individual payslips sent to the employer, and then you would have what we call the employer summary. The employer summary is going to look like this. So you're going to have um, all the employees, the tax code, and gross payments, the individual pay elements, and then at the end it will show you the net pay for each employee. So you can also obtain the net pay for each employee from the employer summary, and it's titled the employer summary, and it gives a summary of the tax, net tax to pay, NIC, um, and pension contributions. Then the next report will be what we call the employer cost summary, and that will look like this. And this is the cost summary. It shows the employer cost, that is what it costs you to pay to employ and to have an employee. So the employer NIC, the employer pension, any additional cost, and that is the total employer cost, including your gross pay. Um, that's the employer summary and the employer cost summary. And where applicable, if any of your employees are opted into or enrolled into a pension scheme, we'll send you a pension report as well. And it will have type called pension monthly summary, and it will give you the employee contribution and the employer contribution amount. And then you would also have what you call the employer's pay slip, and that will look like this. This is called the P30, right? So the title of the document will say P30 employer's pay slip. So employer's pay slip. This is a very important document, and because it tells you at the end of each pay period, how much you need to pay, what reference you need to include on the payment, and the bank account details to pay to. So this bank account, this is the HMRC's bank account. Most banks allow you to select that automatically. It comes down on the drop down menu, and then it gives you the date. Now, this reference number is very important. Okay, so when you're making payment for, as this payslip is showing for August, so if you're making payment for August, it is important that you use this exact reference. Okay, if you use any other reference, then all the payments you make will be allocated randomly, and that can cause reconciliation issues. So the P30 contains the amount that is payable to HMRC along with the bank account details. So the P30 is a very important document where we have been instructed to send payslips directly to the employees via email. We will normally do that on the day we run the payroll or shortly afterwards. Where employees receive payslips via email, the password will be their national insurance number, all letters in capital. All right, so just to recap, when we run payroll for you as an employer, and where relevant and applicable, we will send you this report in the following order: payslips for review to the employer, individual payslips to the employer summary, the employer cost summary, pension summary, and then the employer's payslip P30. Okay, and all payroll documents will come from accounts at the tacuk.com. It is important to make sure that that email does not go to junk or your spam folder. If you have any questions regarding the payroll, you can send us an email to hello@thetacuk.com. So hello, HELLO @thetacuk.com. This is just a brief guide on payroll documents and the process that we follow where we run payroll for you as an employer. As part of the payroll process, every employer is required to submit information to HMRC every time an employee is paid, and then we will do that on your behalf. And if you have also instructed us to file to manage your pension and auto enrollment, we will complete that as part of this process.